already know the drill. We back again with another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So strap on your seatbelts, cause it's all pedal to the metal from here. And without further ado, your amazing host, Drew Billy.
Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys here with your host, Drew Billy, Trevor Dinsmore, Nate Stice. How are we doing tonight, fellas?
Well, I'm doing just fine. Feeling a little under the weather, but excited to be back for another conversation with you fellas.
Oh, yes.
Nate, sorry to hear you're under the weather, buddy. Hope you feel better very soon. And I know hopefully that medicine will help you feel a little bit better as we go throughout the show here. But I said a few things on the Instagram the other day after a certain team in Texas absolutely crumbled to bits once again, perhaps in the biggest fashion that I've ever seen.
Yes.
That was one of the worst collapses that I've ever seen, and I will say those Cabo vacation planning, star wearing, AT&T Stadium hiding, interception throwing. I could go on and on and on, but I didn't prepare a script. That was all improvised. You're very welcome. Dallas Cowboys crumbled at the feet of the Packers yet again, going to 1-6 against that very team in the playoffs since I was born. They still haven't been to an NFC championship since 1995. Dak Prescott, now 2-5, 2-6 in the playoffs? Throws a pick six. Can't connect with CeeDee Lamb to save his life. And Jordan Love, who knew? Jordan Love, who knew he was going to tear the Cowboys defense apart? I mean, I know Diggs wasn't out there, but my God, he looked like Aaron Rodgers out there throwing off of his feet, just slinging it to the back of the end zone to a toe-tapping receiver. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. I knew it was a good weekend no matter what happened to the Steelers. I kind of knew what was going to happen on the way in there, but Mike McCarthy's job could be on the line after 3 12-5 seasons. And in the words of the great Jimmy Johnson, who gave a rousing speech at halftime that did absolutely jack diddly poo to inspire the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah. No, we got a lot to cover tonight. We'll definitely dive more into that, the Dallas situation down there, the crumble and fall of Jerry World down there. But first to lead off, boys, we were at the stadium last night, Hardy Mark Stadium. Bills Mafia was rocking as usual. Your boy took on the elements, took on the beautiful crowd there, with the wife and her family. It was a great time. Even though we lost, I had a good time. I have to say this. I bashed him on Facebook very badly, bashed him on Instagram very badly. I do have to say, after all the losses, Super Bowl losses, everything, I don't know another fan base that is that fucking in on their team. I have to give them that. But I do want to say we didn't have our best player on the field last night, but that's okay. It's like taking Josh Allen out, I feel. But your guys' takeaways from this game. There's been a lot of attacks in the press conferences. I bet you guys have some feelings on that. Nate, or Trevor, whoever wants to take it first there. I'm going to be long-winded as usual. But
this was a year that I kind of expected to have. 9-8, 10-7, I think was the ceiling of this football team. I think that the coaches are very steady. I don't think the roster is constructed in an amazing way, especially at the most important position on the field. We had Boy Wonder leading us to wonder why the hell we think he's Boy Wonder all season long. And we had this third stringer on the bench for, a year and 3/4, hadn't played a snap. And this guy comes in and sets the world on fire. You know what I mean? I don't know who's evaluating that, but that was kind of an area of concern. But I just want to give some flowers to Mason Rudolph. You know, this guy was almost in commercial real estate. He almost retired from the NFL, from professional football. And he had a great ending to this season. And he certainly he won us some games, and he kept us in this game with Buffalo. I know that he had the interception. Sure, I get that. You know what I mean? But here's what I want to say. This dude willed us back, you know, and if the Steelers get a stop there, it's a 1-score game. You know what I mean?
Right.
He kept us in the game. And on our defense, again, 30-plus points given up in the postseason. That's, you know, I think the 4th game in a row we've given up 30-plus. We've given up 40 in 3 of the last 4. So, you know, unfortunately, they didn't show up. I'm not going to say it's all because of TJ. TJ certainly impacts the game. There's no question about that. But, you know, we've come on here and we've talked about it. You know, they have the island of misfit toys back there. We got guys in and out of the lineup. We don't have our starting few middle linebackers. We've had secondary out left and right. And, you know, we got a little healthier coming in, but it still just didn't matter. There wasn't a lot of gelling. There wasn't a lot of, you know, playing together. We got buried early. And I will also say we got Josh Allen, no question. He proved that he is certainly one of the best football players right now on planet Earth. There's no denying it, even if I felt like I knew that coming in. But, yeah, he didn't cough it up like we needed him to, and he carved us. He made play after play. Even without Gabe Davis out there, they made play after play. We couldn't stop the tight ends, just like I said we weren't going to be able to. Each tight end had a receiving touchdown in the first quarter. That's the first time that's happened, I believe, in an NFL playoff game in the history of the league. So exactly what I said would happen, they let happen, which is unfortunate. But I'm going to say this team fought through so much this year. For them to get into the postseason was a nice treat. And I still am not satisfied with a playoff loss. You know, we want to win the Super Bowl every year. You know, that's the expectation. You know, we have no rainbow, no bridges, no anything like other franchises. We haven't had one in, you know, 20 some odd years. You know, I feel pretty fortunate for that. Yeah, we've missed the playoffs, but we haven't had a losing season in a long time. So I know that's not the standard, but I'll feel pretty decent if we can clean a few things up, get a little bit deeper on offense, get a little bit deeper on defense, and figure out this quarterback situation. I think there's something to build off of here. And we also got to get the right OCs in there, OC and play callers and quarterback coach. We got to get the right people in the right positions, because coming into this year and last year, we certainly didn't have the right people in the right positions. So I don't know if it's extend Rudolph and say you're the starter. I don't know if it's, you know, saying we're keeping Kenny. Mason, you're gonna go get your bag somewhere as a possible starter or highly paid backup, and draft somebody or bring someone in who will actually beat out or very highly compete with Kenny. But yeah, I'm happy. You know, even if we lost, there's a lot to be proud of for sure. But not satisfied. And I think that there are some things that we should feel okay about going into next year. It's just, we have to have them do them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of question marks right now. I want to see how they do. And I certainly don't want to play the Buffalo Bills if I'm anybody else in the AFC. They look like a juggernaut right now. So that's how I feel in what I saw this weekend.
I'll take the glasses off so people make sure that I mean this, and I can't believe I'm saying this on camera. I would have rather have played the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Right.
I would rather have played the Kansas City Chiefs, even in that cold, windy tundra of GEHA Field or whatever the hell it's called now. I know it is Arrowhead. Most people know it as Arrowhead. I'm going to call it Arrowhead from this point on. I would have rather have played there on our scheduled time, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Than had, you know, the New York governor taunt us and, you know, hey, you shouldn't come to Buffalo, and then work with the NFL to move the game back. And Drew, you're going to get into some of the stuff that we're upset about with the actual gameplay. But just reflecting on the season overall and kind of in translation of this game, a lot of our recurring themes, like you said, Nate, recurred again in this game. Couldn't stop the tight ends, banged up in the middle of the field at middle linebacker especially, and couldn't stop the run. Could not stop the run. That bend but don't break style of defense did not work this time around, and it rarely works against offenses as hot as the Buffalo Bills right now. I will give a lot of credit to the Buffalo defensive line and Ed Oliver. Those guys were absolute studs. They did not let Najee get out of the box for more than maybe a 6-yard gain the whole game.
Right.
We couldn't run the ball. We couldn't control the ball. I believe time of possession was split pretty much in half, and I knew Steelers on the way, and they were going to have to get 35, 40 minutes time of possession if they wanted any sort of shot at keeping the ball out of Josh Allen's hands and keeping that offense ineffective as possible. Doesn't help that you spot them 21 pretty much right out of the gate too. I mean, don't get me wrong. We fought. We got a drive toward the end of the half, got a touchdown, then we got another field goal, made it 21-10, even made it 24-17 at one point. So it did feel a lot different than that Kansas City game a couple years back in Ben's last year, in that, we actually gave a shit and we actually competed for a little while, and it looked like we were going to come back for a little while, but in the end we kind of knew how this thing was going to end up. It's really tough when you don't have your best player in the field. Game wrecker. We're now 1-11 without him. That in and of itself should tell you how much he means to that team. And good news is he'll be coming back healthy next year, along with Mike Tomlin, as he announced earlier today. Mike Tomlin will be back. Still don't know about Cam, but I think a good chunk of that defense is going to come back, which is a good thing. Hopefully, Micah gets healthy or middle linebackers get healthy. I hope that Thompson comes back too. He looked really good, and I think he could be a steady, rotation guy in the NFL for sure. So got a lot of our defense coming back. Offense, there's a lot to figure out. Is Mason going to go chase his bag? Are we bringing Kenny back? What are we going to address in the draft? I think it should be O-line. Either O-line or maybe cornerback again. But a lot more questions and answers, but that's pretty typical going into the offseason here after yet another first-round exit, and still no playoff victories since 2016.
Right. Well, boys, I'm going to keep the swearing down to a minimum. I got to be a little subtle. Just all around, being there, you're looking, okay, first off, the fans throwing snowballs on the field. Now, if anybody that watches this, that you were one of those jackasses throwing the snowballs on the field, I want to personally tell you, you're a grade A jackass. Everybody from the Bills side of, the fandom want to say, the Pickens, it was behind him. I don't give a shit. There should not be an object coming from the stands near a player that's in the end zone. I don't give a shit. I don't care if it didn't affect the play. I'm looking here. We got state troopers all around, and you got event staff just with their hands in the pocket, and they're just chucking. The one guy got it out to the 30-yard line from way up. I said, maybe we should talk about to him after.
It's a small circular ball. Football's an oblong thing. It's not. Right. It's not going to translate. Plus, if he has small hands, we know that's not going to work.
Right. But how they were packing them, they were just basically solid ice, and they were hitting the field, and they weren't even breaking. So, I mean, that's just a terrifying thing. But to go on the other side of the things here, Steelers now, boys, are 0-4 in the playoffs since 2017. In the point differential, it's minus 49, and then the turnover is 8. In all of the 4 games that they've played. Najee, we'll get on to his quote here, but I got to bring this depiction up. So I want everybody from Bill's side, when you see this 52-yard run from Josh Allen, because it'll probably be in his career highlights down the road when he retires and whatnot. But I just want you, I do not have the TikTok page I got this sent to me. So this run right here the 52-yard run, there's holding here and there's holding over here. Literally mugging the guy. No penalty flags. I'm not saying that's going to change the outcome of the game here. I don't want people to get misled here. But that's 7 points that could have been potentially knocked down to 3. We got a different ball game. But really, they were letting the boys play out there. The Steelers had 7 penalties. The Bills only had 2. I mean, I get whatever. I can try to pick apart all the bullshit. They just had a better team. I'm surprised we were even in this goddamn game. I'm going to be honest with you. But
I mean, Drew, lest we forget the potential PI on Pickens as well. What's his name? McGovern hitting Porter from behind, helmet to helmet.
It's a bit of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, you want to if you're preaching player safety, again, be consistent about it, please. And like you said, not saying that would change the outcome. I don't think it would have.
Right.
Would it have made it closer, a little bit more competitive, a little more fair? Sure. But as we've all known as Steeler fans and as adults, period, life's not fair.
No. But there's one play, everybody that was around me, I got a little bit of the Bills fans around me riled up a little bit. The one play when Josh slid and they called unnecessary roughness, I said, "Oh, golden boy, can't be touched." That I didn't think that was. Do you feel that was a warranted flag there? Looking back on it,
Yeah, it
by the
was.
rule. Okay.
Yeah,
It's how they call it. I don't love the rule. I don't love how it's interpreted, but according to the letter of the law, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll say this, DB, you're in person, so it's really hard to see it live.
Also very true. Yeah.
So like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be they might call it, they might not. But then like the crowd reacts, Josh reacts, they're gonna think about throwing it. They're also told to throw that a high percentage of the time, and then go talk about it to make sure with the group. And I respect that and understand it. However, the only thing that's really difficult is like Josh Allen kind of like fake slid on the 50 some odd run that he had, and like it's just really hard to kind of stop someone that can fake slide like that. And I'm not trying to complain. I don't know what you do. Like the rules are just really tough for defenders. And I'm not just saying against us. I think it's just tough in general. You know what I mean? Like he's not the only player that's done that. I mean, heck, Kenny did it in college too. And I know college is a different game, but yeah, it's just I think it's a really tough time to be a defender in the NFL. It was always really difficult, but now it just continues to get more and more difficult. You can't hit a certain way, you can't do certain things, can't do anything. So.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, watching it on TV, DB, I did think it was a penalty, especially watching the replay. But I understand it being in the crowd. You can't tell. It's a bang play for sure.
Right. But I'll tell you right now, if I had a printer next to me, I would have pulled a cower and ran up onto the field and tucked that in the ref's shirt there and said, where the fuck's the holding call on that? But anyway, one concerning piece here, and I have the quote.
Hey, DB, you don't need the printout of the piece of paper anymore. You got the tablets.
Right.
Now. Go swipe a tablet and say, hey.
Yeah. The Microsoft Surface Pro. You got to get those.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's a quote that I find concerning, and it's been published all over in the media with Najee's comment in regards to, and I have the quote here because I don't want to misquote it because I think it's important. He goes ahead and says, Coach Tomlin always tells me just to play running back. That's a little insight thing we have too. But if you want to elevate where we are and achieve those goals that we want, we have to change some in-house stuff. Like I said, that's not my place. That's not anything that I can control or do anything about that. So what do you think he's going with that there, Trevor?
He's playing his role. Ultimately, he's controlling the controllable. It's what I tell my fellow coworkers to do. There's a lot of things that are going to be out of your control. I mean, hell, the Steelers' performance, ultimately, it's out of my control. I have no say in it. I'm just a fan. That's all I am. But I can control my attitude. I can control my perception of things. I can control what I know about the game, and I can make my voice heard that way. Najee can make his voice heard within the locker room. Right. That's what he's good at. And he's honestly been a better and better leader as the season's gone on. He's as young as he is, he's been almost a veteran leader. and he's really stepped up in that regard. And he stepped up late in the season when we really needed good rushing performances out of him. We saw how he did. He started throwing shoulders in the guys. He's getting 100-yard games, scoring a couple touchdowns here and there, doing what he needs to do on the field, in the locker room, and apparently now in front of the media. And yet it's some of that quote-unquote player speak, sure. But it's player speak. A lot of that's true. So my opinion, he's just controlling the controllable.
Okay. Nate, you feel the same? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think what he said was fair. He's in that locker room. He knows the antics of his teammates. He said, I don't think it starts with the coaches. I think it starts with us as players. I think there's players that aren't invested enough. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's easy for us to say we think so as fans. I mean, I don't, but we don't know what goes on in their life, in the practices and film sessions and all that stuff. So. Yeah, I mean, if Naj felt comfortable saying that, then, I think we probably have to stand by him. Certainly he said some things earlier this year that I'm like, all right, Naj, you got to perform if you're going to say these things. And he's turned it on. And, yeah, he didn't have a game yesterday, but he certainly helped and was a caveat for us getting into the playoffs. He completely changed. And I'll say this, maybe I was unfair to Najee Harris along the way because, and I'm going to say it again, for the 1,000,000th time, because Kenny Pickett is so poor at his job that Najee Harris then becomes that poor at his job. We can't run if he can't complete a damn pass.
That's right.
As soon as Mason started hitting the receiver on the numbers or just putting the ball close, it opens up Naj. Seriously. And that was all it really took. I mean, and sure, maybe the blocking changed a little bit. New coordinators, sure. Marginally, maybe that also helped. But I know this. If a freaking guy can hit a throw and he can be feared to put the ball on somebody, then it's going to open up other parts of your game. And that's exactly what Naj. So maybe I treated him unfairly slightly and said some things that maybe were a little bit premature. But yeah, I'll say Naj, I think he's right about this. I hope that they nip some of the things that may be holding them back, characteristically that he sees. But we'll see. It's not our job to do that. It's the coach's job and the player's job. These are grown men in that locker room, and hopefully they make the adjustments that they think they need to make a leap next year, because they made a slight leap this year, and hopefully they can make another one next year.
Right. Yeah, that's all I got on the Steelers. You guys got anything else? I just very hard to get up today. That's all I got.
No, I'm good. It was mostly back season because of personnel, coaches, blah, blah, blah. But, makes me intrigued for next year. I just hope they make the right decisions. I think with Khan at the GM, they certainly will make some better moves. I think they drafted better this year. Yes. I hope that trend continues. And I'm going to say it right now again. I hope Kenny is not our quarterback, because I'm telling you, statistically speaking, there is nobody worse with his allotment in the history of the game.
Right. That's hard for me to say.
I don't know if you have to cut your hair or start throwing it differently or what. But if you're going to be the guy, then be the damn guy and figure it out. Right. This is Mike says. Mike Tomlin says it himself. This is a performance-based league. You either put the ball on someone or you don't. You either stay in the pocket and stay on the field or you do not. This is a do or do not league. Performance-based. And he has not performed. So if that's the case, DUN done. Get somebody else in there that will. And Mason showed that he will. So hopefully, possibly he's considered, or an alternative option that's better, because I will be absolutely pissed if Kenny is our quarterback next year. I've been saying it for 7 years. 7 is where I hope it stops. I've never seen someone worse. I don't think I've seen anybody worse. Maybe Nathan Peterman. And guess what they have in common? Pitt.
Yeah.
Because it ain't it. Quit drafting these bums. Best thing Joe Flacco ever did was get beat out and go to Delaware.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough.
I just have to say this too. Everybody mark your calendars too. I know we're about 3 months away from this, but April 25th, you will see us losing our shit on draft night there, and the Steelers better be picking a goddamn offensive lineman first round. That's all I have to say on that. Or a quarterback. But I want to pose this question because Nate got my mind jumbling now. How pissed would you be, just how you feel on Kenny right now, if we let Mason go and Kenny is our guy?
I'll be jacked.
Okay. And
I
we
will
keep
be
Trubisky.
absolutely irate.
We keep Trubisky.
Scale
No,
of 1 to 10.
we're not-
Scale of 1 to 10. You're an 11, Nader.
Yeah, I'm off the scale.
You're off the scale.
Invent a new number. That's
Okay.
where I'm at.
I agree.
Gotcha.
He is
Gotcha.
terrible.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for a year and a half on this program. He's so
I know.
Right.
and he just
I
keeps
know.
proving me right. And I hate that he's proven me right.
Right.
You're good. I'll admit you're good. I'll give you your flowers. I'll admit that I'm wrong. But I can't admit I'm wrong when I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong, Kenny.
Yeah.
Quit worrying about your hair and worry about putting the ball on a guy. Holy Pete.
And doing the Edgar Schneider commercials too.
Yeah.
Trevor, any ending points there for the Steelers?
Well, the only time I've liked Kenny is when he's in those Cochran commercials. You know, those car commercials that are on local Pittsburgh TV. Number one family Cochran with Kenny and his beautiful wife. I will admit she's very nice to look at. But unfortunately, Kenny, not so much with his quarterback play. Not so good to look at. I'm with you, Nate. I'd probably be off the scale as well if we don't find someone new. Or if we re-sign Mason and then he's the guy, great. I'm good with that. At least he executes. I've said that since he's gotten in there.
Can he? The question is, can he? No. It doesn't.
No.
It stops
No,
with
no. He can shotgun a beer with Luke Combs, but he can't throw a ball. So
no. Don't care about anything else but performance. Sorry. Well, and not getting in trouble, sure. Performance and not getting in trouble. He hasn't gotten in trouble.
To clarify, Nate, performance on the football field.
Right. Hasn't gotten in trouble. Fine guy. Doesn't answer questions.
It's a nice fellow.
But don't care if you can't perform.
Right.
Get it done.
Right. And the other thing too here, Cameron Hayward, I believe he has one more year on his contract. I thought this was his final year, and they were really pushing to see if he was coming back, and he said he is coming back. I just don't want some of these guys that I feel are just Pittsburgh guys, the talent-wise as well, wasted. We just need that goddamn quarterback. And I agree with you. I'll tell you right now, if they
get that for weeks, been saying that for weeks. We just need that quarterback. We've been saying that for a better part of 2 years now.
Right. If Kenny, if he does play Nate, give him week 1, week 2. If he sucks, get him the hell out of there. And I'm finally saying that. It's very hard for me to say that.
I don't even know if you give him that.
Thing. And neither should Presley Harvin, by the way.
Oh, he needs cut.
Oh, yeah, no, he was horrible. He helped set up the field position for a couple of those first scores there.
Jesus.
Not a good time.
No. He might as well be the server at an Applebee's. He sets the table for the other damn team. He comes in for you, so you're the people at the restaurant come. Come on.
He's handing out the half-price apps after 9. I love it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you by the numbers. There are 32 starting punters in the NFL.
Right.
He's 35th in average net punt.
Shit.
There are 2 people that do not start that are better. What are we doing? He was a 7th round pick. Who cares if he's not working out?
Right.
2 years ago, he drafted a quarterback in the 7th round. He didn't give him a snap of the season. He had no problem letting him go. You're telling me there's nobody on planet Earth other than Presley Harvin that can punt a ball? Come on, man. We had Brad Wing in there and punted the NFL in 7 years, and he out-punted Press, and he comes back off the shelf and gets the job back like nothing. I mean, I understand he can hold field goals. I get it. But come on, man. Find somebody else who can hold a damn field goal.
Right.
It's not that hard. If you can't punt and you can't hold, figure it out.
Right.
Come on. How can you be the Ray Guy award-winning punter and not kick like that? Holy
Yeah, he was averaging what? I
Come
think
on.
55, 60 in college.
Yeah. Close to it.
Come on, man.
55, 60 gross punt, but net, I think it was around 50.
I know you played in the South. The ball carries. I get it. Like in baseball, it carries different. Come on.
Right.
The ACC, you played in Boston College before. You know what playing in the cold is like.
Right.
If you can't kick in the cold, say it in the pre-draft. I don't kick well in the cold. We're not freaking drafting your stupid behind then.
Right.
Can you punt or not?
Right. Danny
Not
Smith.
One out of every 5 is not doing it. Just like 1 out of every 5 completions wasn't doing it for Kenny. You can't have 1 of every 5 passes be good in the NFL and 1 out of every 5 punts be good in the NFL. This isn't 7th grade. You want in 7th grade, you have Matt Canada as your offensive coordinator still.
Right.
And Brandon Staley's the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you, too, I looked this up. An average person, even without knowing how to kick the damn ball right, with a roll, could punt 25 yards. An average
Seriously?
person. Just want to throw that out there for the
Joe Schmo off the street. Yeah.
Yeah. But, all right, I think everybody, all the Bills Mafia, all the Bills fans and Steeler fans wanted to agree with us, and the Bills fans wanted to see us cry. We're going to move on to another game here. We're going to make fun of another fan base here. Philadelphia Eagles, boys, absolutely dropping egg last night. Dropping a leg. They didn't break a leg. But I will tell you, that might be the highest. That's above the 11-0 Steelers. I'm sorry, 32-9 against Baker fucking Mayfield. Baker Mayfield goes 337 yards on your head. Takeaways from this game: Sirianni's job at risk here. What do you think, boys? I mean, Jalen Hurts, they're actually questioning his job, which I don't really fully agree with. But what do you boys think?
Well, it comes back to those coordinators, man. You lost both coordinators, and they didn't coordinate things pretty well the last few weeks. You let Matt Patricia call plays, and he wasn't calling great plays. But seriously, though, I don't know, man. There's something goofed up that happened in the last few weeks. But leading up to that, you could kind of see it in some of the games that they were winning at the end of that win streak that they went through to get to 10-1. They were just winning on luck. They were winning on calls. They were winning on craziness. And it's like, this just didn't seem sustainable. Now, I didn't think that they would just completely flip upside down and lose 6 of the last 7, including losing in their first playoff game. I still thought they'd win some games here and there. But, yeah, this is one of the worst collapses in a long time. You know, up there with that Steelers collapse and that Cardinals collapse from a few years ago, too, when they were, 7 or 8-0, and then they kind of backed their way into the playoffs and had an early exit as well. But, yeah, a lot of questions. I don't think you go for Sirianni quite yet. I mean, certainly a little bit of blame goes to him, but, they're banged up. Their coordinators weren't doing them any favors. Their defense is so old and so beat up, especially in the secondary. So I don't know. But I'll tell you what, the NFC East doesn't get any easier now. The Giants had a down year that I don't think many people expected. Sure, some people would have said that they could miss the playoffs for sure. I mean, that made sense. But they had so many injuries and they played terrible. And then the Commanders are going to be better. They were probably the worst team in the NFL this year, but they can't be much worse than that, right? I mean, they seriously can't be.
Right.
So. And Dallas is probably going to come back and come back with a vengeance, I think. They're probably going to still be a very good team next year, I would imagine, unless they utterly continue that collapse, which I highly doubt. But, yeah, what you do, man. I think they're going to ride it back with those guys again and see what happens. But, yeah, just a weird collapse. I personally don't mind. I'm not a big Philly guy, so fine by me. But. Yeah, I think they run it back. Give him one more shot at it for sure.
Right, Trevor.
It's kind of strange because Sirianni and McCarthy are in pretty similar spots right now.
Yeah,
their teams just fell apart at the seams. The Eagles seemingly over the course of the latter third of the season, and then the Cowboys. all in one fell swoop. Both of these coaches, you're looking at these guys now. McCarthy, 12-5 in 3 straight seasons. Sirianni just went to a Super Bowl last year. This is how quickly things can change. Now they're on the hot seat. It's like, I mean, I understand if they might have had a consistently off year, but the fact that they both had decent years and then just threw it all away, all in one fell swoop, it's just it sucks. It sucks. But again, performance-based league, and if you hire people and if you oversee people that perform like the Eagles performed, whether it's coordinators, whether it's players, whether it's the defense, offense, what have you, these are the conversations that need to happen as an organization. I know their coordinators are probably going to be out of there, and they're going to have new coordinators for a 3rd straight season now. And I know, and this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. Their centerpiece, their captain, Jason Kelce, just retired.
Yeah.
Well, it's not official yet, but he has told the locker room post game, and obviously we saw his emotions on the field after the Bucks game there, looking like he's going to retire. And so it's very hard to replace a Jason Kelce on the offensive line. And just a side note, we'll see if the NFL wants to ban the tush push after Jason Kelce's gone. But that aside, Eagles are in a weird spot.
Yeah.
They're in a weird spot.
Yep.
They're still going to try and contend. They kind of have to. They're nowhere near a rebuild at this point. You have your star quarterback. You have your star receivers. You have your star running backs. You have your centerpieces, like I said, minus Jason Kelce. But you're also coming off the emotional low of spiraling and just, I don't know whether there was infighting in the organization. I don't know what went on in that organization that made them suck so bad down the stretch. But whatever it is, they got to fix it, and they got to fix it fast because draft's 3 months away. They got some work to do.
Yeah, no, it's I have to just throw out there to the viewers, if you don't understand, this is a big deal for the Eagles, Jason Kelce retiring. That is a big relationship there between the quarterback and the center.
Groundbreaking.
We saw it with Marquise retiring and Ben staying that extra year. It was a fucking shit show. But honestly, if you got to feel bad for the Eagles fan base. You know, it's you guys get so high, you're up there, your wings are fluttering, and then all of a sudden you just tamper down. You stay down for a little while, and hopefully Sirianni's job at risk next year, boys. If we have the same next year, yes, he has to have. I would say a similar year to this year, and probably a first-round exit for his job to be in pretty serious jeopardy. Okay.
Yeah. One thing to note that I don't think we talked about was this is an old football team for the most part. You know, Derek plays in year 11.
This is true.
For his knee, we think. Lane Johnson's, an old man in terms of years in the NFL. A couple other guys on their defense.
Fletcher Cox on the defensive end.
Brandon Graham guy. So, I think that if they don't get a Super Bowl, within the next year, next season or two, they're probably going to rip a Band-Aid off and have to do a rebuild, I think, because a lot of their cornerstones are going to be gonzo unless they can really do a fine job in free agency and patch the sucker and draft well, which credit to their general manager. I believe Howie Roseman's his name. He's done a heck of a job with drafting and getting guys in. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I think that they're coming to a screeching halt here potentially because a lot of their guys, their OG guys on their team are getting up there in age. It's going to be difficult for them.
Right. And I don't want to make you Eagles fans freak out here, but I just want you guys to know they did fire – his name just slipped in my mind right before I said it, boys. Doug Peterson, right after winning the Super Bowl. So they do not mind – they don't give a shit. They want things produced. And that organization doesn't hold back from spending money either. So I think that's why it's so aggressive.
Yeah, the management is very reflective of that fan base. They love you to death when you're doing good, but they will turn on you like that.
Yep.
Right. But swinging over to probably the greatest moment this weekend was the Cowboys. Trevor's wearing his cowboy hat there.
No, wait.
Yep, apologize.
I got it. Okay.
He has his get-up going on over there over the Cowboys loss to the Packers. I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't going to be the Steelers, the Packers are a very dangerous team. I think very overlooked. But Mike McCarthy, Jesus, you got to stay away from the KFC before game day. I cannot say it enough. 48-32 loss to the number 7 seed. What do you boys? What's the takeaways here? Jerry Jones. I honestly was concerned in his interview. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He did not look good. He was going through it.
I had never seen Jerry Jones speechless even after devastating losses similar to this one, although this was probably the worst one. I'd never seen him speechless. I almost cried out of joy. It was great.
So what do you boys think here? What's going to be the offseason looking like for the Cowboys? I know it's early stages, but
they got to figure out this middle linebacking problem. Leighton Vander Esch may have to, and he certainly is a one-man run stopper in the middle there, and that's a huge question mark right now. That's one thing they have to figure out for sure. And secondary wise, they have ball hawking corners, not cover corners. They need supplemental cover corners to help excuse me, these ball hawking corners, because there's nobody that can cover and lock down anybody, and that's a problem. And you saw it firsthand. And I'm going to say this Green Bay Packer team, if they can keep this core together, oh my goodness, they could be pretty dang good for a while. They're all so young, the youngest team in the NFL. They're one of the youngest teams to ever make the postseason in the history of the league. I think their average age is 25 years and some odd days. So, yeah, the Packers they're a nice football team, and they're going to be getting even better here, in a hurry. But if you're Dallas, I don't know how you score more points. I don't. I maybe you can mix in a different running game a little bit. Maybe you run the football a little bit more. I think that's slightly part of the problem, but not a major one. I think it really comes down to is you have to just have a guy on a guy who can lock down the guy. That's just what it is. They don't have it. And they got to have someone that can fill the gaps at middle linebacker, come up and make the plays. And they didn't have that, and that killed them. And that was their susceptible point. I think we talked about it last week, and that's exactly where Green Bay executed, and hats off to them. So, yeah, I wish I was more surprised, but I'm not, because Green Bay honestly is just on fire, and they got incredible speed on the outsides. They got 2 stud tight ends. They got Aaron Jones running his freaking head off right now, and the defense is starting to play the best that they've played. They're playing together, and they're making enough plays to hold them into it. So, yeah, if you're Dallas, you just got to win when it's important, and you got to shore up those things, because I'm telling you, if they can run this thing back and piece a couple of those holes, on paper, they're going to be dang good again.
Right.
Again. But until you can win when it matters, it really doesn't matter. So that's where you find the supplement this year. You patch those things on defense, run the ball maybe slightly more, and just win when it matters. I mean, there's just something to be said about someone or a team that's clutch, and the Cowboys just don't have the it factor.
No.
Blame Dak all you want, but this one wasn't on him. They got to be able to stop somebody from the guy. He scored 30 again. Not his fault. He didn't play the best game of the year, but he played good enough to win on his end. So, yeah, a couple mistakes by him, but nothing insane to me. So, yeah, that's what I think about it. A team that still is so close, honestly. I'm fine with them not winning. Sure, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, it's also frustrating to see those teams that should be good and they just choke all the time. It's just weird to me.
Yeah. Yes.
Weirdly, I was going to say the same thing, Nate. Don't blame Dak for this one. I know he had the pick six. I know he had another interception as he went throughout the first half there, but it's still, and I know a lot of these are empty yards. He completed 2/3 of his passes for 403 yards. Stat line was okay. Of course, like I said, the untimely turnovers and I don't think the Dallas Cowboys defense, if you were throwing a beach ball on them, I don't think they would have stopped the Packers offense. I mean, Aaron Jones was running up and down the throat. He had 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. And like I was talking about earlier, Jordan Love looking like freaking Aaron Rodgers back there. Kind of an aside here. How does that Packers franchise get so lucky with these QBs? It drives me nuts, but not as much as the Cowboys. And it, like I've said many times on this program before, it brings joy to my heart to watch the Dallas Cowboys and the most annoying, obnoxious, idiotic, self-righteous, and overall stupid fan base in the NFL suffer. Some people say that's Steelers fans. Steelers fans say that's Cowboys fans. So I'm going to go with it. It's Cowboys fans. Yeah. At least us Steelers fans, we're self-aware, right? We know what's going to happen. We know we're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs and go 10-7. It's fine. Dallas Cowboys fans, oh, this is our year. How about them Cowboys? You go 12-5 and you lose 48. You give up 48 points
at home
to I know it's his 4th or 5th year in the league, but to basically a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, in his first playoff game, first
playoff game against the youngest team in the league in a game where you were favored by a whole touchdown. And I'll say it right here, right now. I picked the Cowboys last week, and when people were texting me, "Hey, what are you betting on today? What are you betting on today?" I believe it was the Cowboys game, and the Detroit game was right after it. Yeah. So 2 good back-to-back feel-good games for me there. I bet on the Cowboys. I bet on the Cowboys to even cover at home. But hey, that's okay. That's okay. When my mom asks, "Hey, why'd you bet on the Cowboys?" I'm like, well, either I get money, I win money, or I get probably a more important thing. I get joy, and I got joy.
You paid for the joy, right?
You get joy either way.
Joy.
No, that's a good way to look. No, I how about them damn Cowboys, though, huh? I mean, I'll tell you right now, I know everybody's really quick to pull the trigger here on Mike McCarthy, but I do have to say this. Jerry did let Jason Garrett go on a 3-year 8-8 record seasons in a row, actually. I mean, it was a disaster. He spent 9 seasons there. But are they going to fire McCarthy, or is there just going to be a conversation that, hey, you better not fuck up next year. You're out of here, bud.
I don't know. Still to be determined.
Okay.
I think Jerry has a list of people that he would want to replace Mike McCarthy, and I feel like Bill Belichick is on it. That's about it. So it just depends on if they can, figure out some of these things behind closed doors and give him the boot and get Bill in there. But I don't know. Bill seems to be interested in other jobs like Atlanta, and I don't know. I think they're going to run it back with McCarthy again. I'm not a big Mike McCarthy believer. He has not had his teams ready a lot, and it reminds me of the coach that we have, unfortunately. I hate to say it. Those guys, very good statistically, very good at what they do. They have not had the most postseason success, a lot of choke jobs. So I don't know, but I think they're going to run it back with him again, if I had to guess.
Okay.
I'd say they run it back with him, but he's on a hotter seat than anyone in NFL history that has had 12 wins their past 3 seasons, which that's a rarity in and of itself. The fact that he's on the hot seat for it because he can't win in the playoffs. Again, performance-based league.
Right.
You don't perform in the playoffs,
right?
Especially with the coaching carousel that's out there right now. If he were to fire McCarthy, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah.
But you better bet your ass if he starts next season as the Dallas Cowboys head coach, he's right at the top of the list for first coach fired.
Right. Right. And then switching over here, it was a magical day here in Detroit, Michigan. It was a coming home party for Matthew Stafford, but I don't think it ended the way he wanted it to. Boys, what the hell was it here? Yeah, I mean, any takeaways from the game? I mean, I knew St. Brown was going to go off. I had Laporta getting that touchdown. It was good. It was a good game to bet on. But 23-24. That was a little closer than I thought it was going to be. Thank God I didn't take the spread on that. Jesus Christ! But what takeaways from that?
I told you the Rams were a good team, and they didn't hold it. I picked them in that game. I think there were some questionable calls that didn't go their way, which is ironic because there were some questionable calls that didn't go Detroit's way a few weeks ago. So maybe that was just the NFL's way of making it up to them to make sure that they finally broke this streak. But yeah, I'm not I'm not splitting hairs about that game. I don't particularly like or dislike either one of those teams. I feel happy for Lions fans. Some of these folks that I know that are Lions fans, I mean, they've never seen a playoff win. I mean, that's just crazy. And, I know what that feels like as a Pirates fan. I never saw a playoff win for 20 years in my life. It's pretty crazy to think about that. So it's really great that this franchise finally has a win. They have another home playoff game, I believe, next week, if I'm not mistaken. So another opportunity for them. And, I certainly didn't expect this factoid, but they could be in an NFC championship game. They have a very favorable matchup.
More win.
So one win away from getting to the NFC title game, and good for them. It's been a long time. And I don't know if you can hear a car going crazy in my background here. Somebody's car alarm is going nuts, and it's driving me bananas. Thankfully,
it's not yours, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not yours? Okay.
No. I'd probably slam myself to get it to shut off. Anyway, yeah, no, good for those fans. And a great effort by the Rams, a great bounce back year, and a testament to the Rams in their draft over the last 6 to 8 years. They continue to find the right guys to come in and be amazing. Cooper Kupp, a lot of people were not high on him because he went to Eastern Washington. Triple Crown winner a couple years ago. Puka Nacua, one of the best rookie seasons of all time not just for his position, but for anybody. And then Kyron Williams, who could have seen that coming in the 5th round, he's probably going to be a franchise cornerstone running back if he can continue to be at that pace or even close. And, Denzel, we know you love your Notre Damer there. So I'll just beat you to it. But that was a great game.
I was going to bring him up.
Great football game there. But yeah, very happy for the Detroit Lions, and we'll see what they do next week. They have a good shot. It'll be interesting. Or this week, I guess now, but yeah.
I hope you guys watched the pregame little hype up intro to that. They played Eminem's Survival. This is survival of the fittest. Damn right it was.
Right. And
the fittest was the Detroit Lions. For once. I mean, anytime that a Detroit fan or whoever fan Googled last Detroit playoff win, it predated Google.
Right.
Long time ago. A whole generation has come and gone without a playoff win. Good for Detroit. I was so happy for that. I was a Detroit fan for 3 hours right there. I mean, I've been advocating for Detroit all season, but I was actively rooting for them. And not just because I had money on them. That was part of it. But just because of the genuine emotion and the atmosphere that was coming out of that place. That might be game of the year. It's up there. It's up there. I know I got a little stagnant in the second half, not a whole lot of scoring. Man, that was intense from start to finish. And Dan Campbell, my God,
Right.
The man has the biggest stones on the planet. He does. It's 2nd and 9, and the Rams have a couple of their timeouts left still. 2nd and 9, they're driving down, 11-yarder to Amon-Ra, game over. In a playoff game to seal the first playoff win in over 30 years. Oh, Amazing stuff. Again, Laporta, great day as well. I'm still going to pat myself on the back for him. I'll probably do that going into next year as well. Then Amon-Ra St. Brown had an excellent day as well. The stars shine brightest in Detroit, and it left Eminem and the Detroit faithful ultra happy. And I'll pat myself on the back here as well. Remember what I said at the start of the season, boys?
Yeah,
They'd win a playoff. Yeah,
they'd win a playoff game.
I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
Y'all snickered at me for a little bit.
I did.
I believe
and don't get me wrong, I was a little in saying it too, but as I saw Detroit go throughout the season and the way they played complete football, they were actually able to run the ball, utilize the tight ends, utilize the receivers. A little shaky on defense with some of the injuries that they had going throughout there, but they showed up when they needed to. And yes, they might have been the beneficiary of a call or two, but again, it's football. Football is not always completely and entirely fair. Ultimately, scoreboard says Detroit won, and they'll be playing the Bucs.
Yeah, no, it was just a special day in Detroit, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, got Megatron on the sideline there, you got Barry on the sideline, you got Eminem. I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, what a lineup, So I mean, you got to kind of win it when you got those kind of people on the sideline, but I see them winning next week, boys. But anyways, switching over to Houston Texans, CJ Stroud's coming out party, I feel. He really just lit it up 45-14. Joe Flacco is very hard on Joe Flacco. I cannot stand Browns fans, cannot stand the dog pound. If you're a Browns fan, I apologize, but I can't stand you. But how far is this team going to go? Do you think they're actually going to win that? I mean, he is on. Like, there's not any missteps. He's not shaken by. Everybody's giving him shit about throwing basketballs and bringing out like a clown at a circus. He's bringing all this stuff out of a bag and messing around with it, but it works. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Any thoughts from that game, boys?
I loved every second of that.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I had a weird feeling that sitting those guys would impact the game. I just thought that the Browns were on such a roll. And I know they're NFL players, and sure, those guys will say, no, me sitting doesn't affect it. But I just had a feeling. And CJ Stroud is different, man. He is something else. And I feel very sorry that Tepper is stuck with the guy that he has, although let's not write off Bryce Young yet entirely. Don't think it's his fault. But no. I don't know. I feel bad that he is so full of himself that he didn't listen to his consultants and saying, I'm sorry, but CJ Stroud's better. And he went with who he said he wanted, and that's what you get. But on the flip side, I'm excited for CJ Stroud that he's not with that man, and he has the Houston Texans and D'Amico Ryans and his speed demon receiving core around to help him. This is not a perfect football team, but dang, they could be pretty good for a few years here. They have a nice core around, and they got some money to spend, and they have togetherness. So good for them. Huge win. CJ Stroud made throws that I've seen very few guys in the history of the NFL make. That touch pass that he threw 40 yards on a dime. I mean, he had so much touch on that ball. It went off the screen, but it dropped right in the breadbasket for that 40-yard touchdown. I have seen very few players with the touch on a football like that. It was incredible. And he's so poised in the pocket. He has enough mobility to get out of danger and make throws on the run. And oh my gosh, he's doing it without Tank Dell too. They're doing it without wide receiver one or two. Him and Collins are both very good. But yeah, great bounce back year for the Texans. They have, believe, more playoff wins in recent memory than the Dallas Cowboys. They've had more success in recent years than Dallas, which is kind of strange because they were down and out last year. They were not a very good football team. But yeah, good for them. And I'm going to say one thing positive about the Browns. Two things positive about the Browns. They were the first team ever to have 5 different starting quarterbacks to make the NFL playoffs. They've had a lot of adversity. and that team played together and had a very good run to end the year.
Yeah.
So, they should be proud of that for sure. The other two more things. I should say three overall. Joe Flacco, I know the last game of your career was pretty terrible, but good for you for coming off the couch and busting butt and figuring things out. You have to give the guy flowers. That's not easy to do for anybody, especially a 39-year-old that we thought was pretty much done,
Right.
Good for him. I know he didn't play his best football. And Joe Flacco fashion went out playing jackpot like he has done so many times before, just throwing it up in the air and the other team going to get it. But one other thing I want to say about the Browns is David Njoku, I hope that they can find ways to continue to use him if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, because that's the David Njoku that you've been waiting for a handful of years, and they finally got involved, and he is a complete defensive wrecker or offensive wrecker to the defense out there. He is a perfect wrinkle, and they need to use that. He's a matchup nightmare. He catches the ball. He's fast, and they were underutilizing him for years. So with Deshaun coming back, figure out a way for Deshaun to throw to tight ends. I'm tired of him not doing so. So figure that out. And sorry, Browns fans, you got to wait a little bit longer. This is Detroit's year. They got it done. You didn't. Sorry.
I'll say this too. If it weren't for Dan Campbell getting Detroit their first playoff win since I've been alive, I would say Stefanski's right up there for Coach of the Year as well, along with Ryans and along with what's the name of that Colts coach? And I always forget his name. Steichen. Thank you I knew it started with an S. But you said the magic words, David Njoku, Nader. I got a couple statistics for you here. 4 out of his last 5 games, he's had 90 yards or more. He had 7 receptions for 93 yards, even in this game.
Yep.
He's a beast, man. He's a beast, and he's entering the prime of his career right now, too. I mean, we could literally see a Darren Waller-like prime for him right here, right now. And he better be at the top of your fantasy draft boards for tight ends next year. That's all I'm going to say on that. Great season for the Brownies, even though, like you said, Nate, they dealt with 5 starting quarterbacks. At one point, I think 4 of them in October alone.
Yep. Right. Yep.
That's still impressive. But unfortunately, not their time. And as much as it pains me to see an Ohio State quarterback do well in the NFL, it brings me even more joy to see the Cleveland Browns lose in the first round of the playoffs, no matter what the circumstances. Again, I got joy. I got joy and money out of this one. I put a good bit on the Texans.
Right. Texans, they deserve it. Lions deserve it. I just got to say this. I've been seeing it, and somebody, I somehow got in a Facebook fight on accident. It wasn't even on my post. Someone compared C.J. Stroud to Cam Newton. Trevor, I told you about this. Let's pump the brakes here just a little bit, okay?
Yeah, give that a minute. Give that a minute. But he is well on his way.
Right.
He's well on his way. He's a bit more of a pocket presence than Cam. He can still run. He's still mobile when he needs to be, but he's mobile in the way that Patrick Mahomes is mobile, only when he needs to be. For the most part, he's back there slinging the rock to Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and all the rest. So.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a good comparison at all.
No.
Oh my God, hell no.
I know Cam Newton fell off. I understand that. But Cam Newton is like about 1 of 2. Him and Josh Allen. That's it. Those two are in a category of their own. There have never been players like that. Those are the two. The passing and the running at that level. And then some people are like, well, what about Vic and Lamar Jackson? They run a different way. That's why they're in their own category. They have the shiftiest. They are the 2 shiftiest and fastest quarterbacks that there's been. Maybe Kyler Murray, sure, but Kyler is just so little, and he's been banged up the last few years that he hasn't been able to kind of unleash that part of his game. And I don't know if he will be able to as much anymore with some of the injuries he's had. But yeah, they're different categories to me. Cam Newton's 1 of 2. But in terms of big explosive arm, I guess you could say Stroud has a big explosive arm, but no, Cam doesn't play like anybody but Josh Allen at points. That's it. That's it So I don't think it's a great comparison at all for whoever said that. Sorry, but I think you're just wrong about it.
Right. Right. And Trevor, you have anything that I want to? You guys got anything?
I did have a little some more questions, more kind of debate topics for you guys. But are we covering the Chiefs game at all, or?
I was going to.
Do we want to talk about the fact that Taylor Swift had more cameos than the Dolphins had points? Can we want to talk about that or no? Okay, we can leave it alone.
Let's do yours and then we'll go over to Pick'ems.
Okay, no, that works for me.
Yeah.
And this little segment inspired a lot by Rich Eisen. Rich Eisen, one of the founders of NFL Network. I've been listening to his stuff for a long time. He does this show. He does a segment on the Rich Eisen show called What's More Likely? Chris Brockman, one of his co-hosts, brings up a couple scenarios and asks, what's more likely. Then they debated on end for about 5, 6, 7, however many minutes they want to debate it for. So I got a bit of mix of kind of leaning into Pick'ems and then some leaning into the offseason here for you guys. So what's more likely? Belichick breaks the all-time wins record in the next 2 years, or Mike T leaves the Steelers after next year.
Oh,
Mike, to me, it's not even a question. It's Mike T leaves the Steelers after next year. Bill Belichick wants to coach. There have been very few coaches in the history of any sport that I think loved the grind of coaching quite like Bill Belichick. People like Jim Boeheim, Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams come to mind in basketball. And, Wade Phillips in football is another one. That dude is 80 years old. He's a UFL coach,
I
believe, in San Antonio. But Bill Belichick is in a very elite company of people that have just dedicated almost their whole life to coaching. I know he played and all that stuff, but yeah, he's been coaching for a long freaking time, almost, 50 something years, almost 60 years. I mean, he doesn't want to stop. He just wants to be, he just agreed that it was not right for him to be in New England anymore. In terms of Mike T, that was weird for him to dodge that question. I'm glad that he's going to play out that year on the contract. But I think that truly he might debate what he wants to do after that year. He wants to see how the team performs, how him and the GM work together, and if he still loves it enough, and I understand that. I'm not going to condemn the guy for that. I'll be disappointed probably if he doesn't come back. But no, to me, I think it's more likely that Bill Belichick breaks that record than Mike Tomlin being the coach after next year at this time, at this exact moment. So that could change, but I'm going to ride with Bill Belichick.
You said it's more likely that Mike T leaves after next season. That's what you're saying?
Yes, okay. I think so.
Okay, so he's 15 wins shy.
I'm giving him a bit of a buffer year because he's going to probably join Falcons, Chargers, whoever.
Right. He'll get it.
Not guaranteed he's going to get there in 1 year. So
yeah, if they go 10-7 next year, Tomlin ain't coming back. I think there's going to be a mutual parting between the Rooneys and him. We cannot have another first game exit. But so I agree with Nate on that. I see Bill getting that record, and Tomlin not being the coach because you
so
really got.
Are you saying Mike Tomlin leaves after next season? That's more likely than Bill getting the record, or
yeah.
I
don't know how much you can fix and I'm a Tomlin guy, and I know it drives a lot of close friends and family when I say that, but I got to say this: he's been doing the same thing for how many years now, boys? In a year, he can switch all that shit. I don't know. I don't think.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all kind of said it already. Y'all said what you needed to say, and we know how Tomlin's been over the last several years. Don't seek comfort. He's sought comfort in barely making the playoffs and then getting bounced in the first round. It's becoming about as routine as the Cowboys losing in the first round. It's kind of sickening at this point. So I'm with y'all. Mike T probably gone after next season, unfortunately.
Yes.
Glad he's sticking it out for the remainder of his contract. But after next year, I think we'll see a new Steelers head coach, and we'll see if the Rooney's got a plan. They usually do. They did when Mike T came in, so
Right.
we'll see how that goes. Okay. On to more divisional weekend questions here. CJ Stroud and Baker Mayfield combined for 600 passing yards, or both quarterbacks in the Bills Chiefs game, Mahomes and Allen, fall short of 250. Remember, let's see, Stroud, Texans playing the Ravens on the road, then Mayfield on the road against the Lions.
Yeah, I will go with the latter. I think that's not very likely that those guys will combine for 500. I think that we'll see more yards in the Ravens Texans. Well, yeah. Well, if they combine,
even then, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be more likely we see the under with Allen and Mahomes than not seeing the over with Stroud and Jackson. I think there's going to be points scored in the Ravens Texans for sure, and I think that we could see a slugfest in the Bills versus Chiefs. Those two teams have been built a little bit differently, playing a little bit differently than they had in years past, and I think the weather certainly will be impacted a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it's more likely we see less yards in the Bills Chiefs game, like the latter. So
I would have to say, yeah, Josh only had 203 yards. He did have 3 touchdowns. I would have to agree on Nate on that, because it sucked. The weather sucked.
I could tell from your Instagram posts. It did not look fun.
Not great.
The game looked fun. The weather did not.
Right.
I got a question for you. Did you have to shovel snow? Did you have to clear snow out to get to your seat like a bunch of other people?
No, so
or was it already cleared out by the time you got there?
I fucked up. I should have threw that in when we were talking. You got equipment that can do this shit. I gotta say something. You got those poor people out there. I know you're paying them $20 and they love to be a part of it. But God, that you had to stand. You couldn't sit. We were standing the whole game. You couldn't sit in the bleachers. No. I mean, seriously, it was a falling. If you were an elderly person, that would have been hell on earth for you. You would have.
I don't think any elderly people were at that game.
No, probably not. And if it were, good for them. But yeah poor health.
I mean, I held my piss the entire game. That's how bad it was. I just didn't want to get that.
I would have made you warmer, honestly.
Right, I was thinking about it. But
holy crap!
But I really think it's going to be a very, and we'll touch on it, but keep going.
So Mayfield, Stroud combined for 600 passing yards, or both QBs in the Bills game fall short of 250. You said you're picking the latter as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you both. More run-based offenses than we've seen in recent times from Bills and Chiefs as well. They've been winning some slugfests, and I think it's going to be another one. Going to be hopefully another close game there. And kind of a weird one for you guys here. More likely that we see a 60-yard field goal this week, or that no favorites cover the spreads. And I have the spreads up for you right now. On FanDuel, Ravens favored by 9.5, Niners favored by 9.5, Detroit favored by 6.5, and then Buffalo favored by 2.5.
Justin Tucker's foot, 60-yarder.
I'm going to say it's more likely we do not see a 60-yard field goal. I think field position is different in the playoffs. The weather's different. Believe the game, Tampa Bay and Detroit's in a dome, but
yes,
I don't think Chase McLaughlin's automatic from 60.
He's got a leg, sure, and Badgley's kind of weird from long distances too.
So I don't trust that one. And then I don't think Moody is a 60-yard guy. I don't know what the weather is in San Fran. It should be a little bit hotter.
I'd imagine, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to say
Hotter temperatures anyway.
more likely we don't see a 60-yard field goal. I think San Francisco could expose them with their depth and their experience, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
And same thing with Baltimore. They have experience and depth, and I think that with the preparation, they could win big. I truly think so. I won't be surprised if they don't, but I think they very well could too.
Yeah. So weather in Baltimore, 28, partially cloudy. I mean, I the only person I see getting a 60-yarder is Justin Tucker. This weekend anyway. I don't see Carlson from the Packers doing it. I don't see Moody doing it. McLaughlin or Badgley, probably not. And then that
Fairbairn, nope.
Or Fairbairn, yeah.
No.
Fairbairn, no. I mean, Butker could do it if the weather's nice enough, but it's going to be 20 degrees, probably windy, cloudy. It's at night.
Yeah.
I'll tell you too. I don't know if either of you been there. It's a wind
No.
tunnel.
I have been. It's tough.
Yeah.
And it goes.
I believe it. Well, and Buffalo itself is a wind tunnel. I know that. Thankfully, I've only gone to hockey games up in Buffalo and in the arenas, but
I mean,
yeah, I do want to go to Orchard Park at some point. I've heard it's a real nice area, though.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm with you both. I'm with you, Nate. No favorites cover the spreads this week. I think that's more likely than the 60-yard field goal. Kind of something we touched on earlier, and this is kind of going into off-season stuff. I'm going to bounce back and forth a little bit here. More likely that Brandon Staley has a job in the NFL next year, or Mike McCarthy gets fired in the offseason.
Oh wow!
I think it's more likely that Brandon Staley has a job in the NFL than McCarthy gets fired. I think he's going to go to the Rams.
Going to go on McVay's staff, be analyst or something on the offense.
I'm going to say like
position coach,
defensive assistant or something. He could be their DC, definitely, because
yeah.
Why am I blanking on their defensive coordinator right now? Former head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was the defensive coordinator on the Super Bowl winning team. I'm blanking on his name, but yeah, he's going to get some head coach interviews. So I think that Brandon Staley could definitely go back with Sean McVay and be their DC or defensive assistant for sure. I apologize to the viewers that I'm blanking on the defensive coordinator for the Rams at the moment. I can see him in my head.
For the Rams. I thought you said Chargers. My apologies.
No, for the Rams. I apologize. Yeah, I'm blanking on his name. I can see his name.
Raheem Morris.
Yeah, former head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and has been.
In fairness, I had to look that up too. So
yeah,
I feel too bad.
You're good.
But yeah, I think Staley could replace him if Raheem Morris is out the door, which I think he very well could be. So I'm going to say Staley over McCarthy getting fired this offseason.
Right. And I'll tell you right now, half the Buccaneers fans don't even know who the hell the coach was. So I'm just going to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of stupidity this weekend. Just with Jerry, his emotion, I don't know. That's why I went, oh shit, because could he pull the trigger? I would give him another chance. I don't know. I haven't seen Jerry cry like that. But I could see Staley being a coordinator somewhere. I feel like that's more. More. I would
Staley.
Yeah.
I'd say it's slightly more likely as well. I wouldn't put it past Jerry to make a splash move and make a splash hire. Like I said, especially with the coaching carousel that's out there now, it's kind of insane what's available to him. So if he does want to move on, he's got plenty of options. But no, Brandon Staley will have a job in the NFL. I would say that's more likely as well. Then another one, kind of trending into the offseason type of stuff here. More likely that Cleveland parts ways with Deshaun Watson or the Steelers draft another first-round quarterback?
Steelers draft another first-round quarterback. I think.
Please.
I think they're stuck. I think they're
Please.
stuck with John. He's owed too much money. They're not going to do what Denver did. I think there's going to be something that comes out of Denver doing that when they go to this offseason and talk with the Players Association. I think there's going to be something that happens. They might get some fines or they might change the rules and stuff. So, yeah, I think it's more likely the Steelers draft a first-round quarterback than the Browns move off of Deshaun Watson. There's no way they can get him off the books. Nobody wants the contract via trade, and they're not just going to let him sit at home. So, yeah, I think the Steelers are more likely to draft another first-rounder than the Browns move off Deshaun.
I love any player the Steelers draft, but I got to tell you, this quarterback room's not doing it. One guy I would really love to see, and I think some people might disagree, you guys might, Bo Nix. I would really love to see him in fucking black and gold. I for whatever reason, I really like him.
I'm not fully sold on him yet.
Okay.
He could develop.
Okay.
We're in a weird draft spot for that too, because a lot of the main guys they're projected to go top 10, including Penix can go as high as in the top 10, but I've also seen drafts where he falls out of the first round, so it could go a whole lot of different ways, as always, which I love.
But shit.
So you on Watson parting ways with Cleveland, or
you got to? You can't stay with that jackass. He's not hurt, boys. Browns fans, he is not hurt. He is just being a crybaby. He does not want to play for them. He's signed the contract, and I'll tell you, there's two things, and I don't want to take over your segment, Trevor, but I just got to say,
no, you're good.
If I was a Browns fan, I'd be crying. You fucking let Baker Mayfield go, and he's balling the fuck out for the Bucs against a team that was in the Super Bowl last year. And also, you sign, I got to be PG about it, a guy that's made some really bad decisions around some trainers and massage staff. And this is the guy you pay $245 million to, and then he doesn't want to play. So you bring freaking Ernie from Sesame Street in to come play for you at quarterback, and he balls out. Fuck him. Seriously, who's the guy that the Mets are still paying?
Bobby.
Yeah.
Just do that. Get him the hell out of there.
Oh, and the Mets are going to be one of the three teams paying Max Scherzer this upcoming year.
That's just a whole.
Max Scherzer is going to be on the top 3 of 3 teams' payrolls.
And he's 38 years old, and he's freaking washed.
And I'll tell you, too, I don't know Joe Flacco's future, but I'm okay with Thompson. I'm okay. Is it Dorian?
Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm fine with him. I think you give him more reps, give him more, a chance on the field. I think he could play close to the level of Deshaun. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this stage, not early Texans Deshaun. Deshaun, on that team, he was a baller, but get him the hell out of there. I'm going with the Deshaun thing, Trevor.
The only way I could see them parting with Deshaun, and I kind of mentioned it in the comments here too, is a trade of some sort where they pay a portion of his salary and they get some draft capital out of it. I don't think that'll happen. I'm personally going to take Steelers drafting another quarterback in the first round, and that's kind of what I want to happen too. Yeah. Like I've said all season, Kenny, he needs a plug up his ass if he's going to perform. And if he's not going to perform with that, then it's time to move on. Again, we've emphasized it throughout the show. Performance-based league. He has not performed. Let's try someone else. And I know we're going to be in QB purgatory for a while. We were in it after Terry for a while. We were in it after O'Donnell for a hot second with Cordell and Tommy. We were blessed with 18 great years at number 7. But those types of guys, top 10 quarterbacks of all time, do not grow on trees. And we're learning that in a pretty rough way as we speak as Steelers fans. So
just real quick,
let's get another QB.
Do they trade up? Do we see
Steelers
them again?
No.
I wouldn't put it past Khan, but I don't think so. Not in this draft.
Okay.
I think the draft class is loaded enough to where we can fill a need and get a talented guy with where we are.
Okay.
I don't think we need to move up this time.
Because we all shit our pants.
Yeah, no, it was a very specific thing, though, because the Jets were going to take him. The Jets were going to take Broderick Jones. And I believe they even said that in interviews after the fact. And don't get me wrong, I still think Billy was kind of happy to screw over the Jets again. I don't know if that was part of it, but a nice positive unintended consequence, if you will. But no, I think we can. I think we can do well with what we got. And if we run out of linemen to draft and Chop Robinson, a guy like that falls to us, I'd be happy to get him. So there's enough out there to where we don't have to.
I got you.
Then, here we go. What was this one? What's more likely? Christian McCaffrey scores 2 touchdowns again, or Jordan Love has a second straight 3-touchdown game.
McCaffrey scores twice.
First one. I'm putting that bet in.
McCaffrey scores twice.
Yeah. Jordan Love against that 49er defense at home with rest. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And if he proves me wrong, then good for that kid.
He's proved a lot of people wrong against Cowboys defense. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. The thing is, though, Dallas has had those games.
I know.
Fran has not. Like,
this
the most
true.
they get up is like 20, and they lost.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not true. Technically, they gave up more against Baltimore, but that one kind of got out of hand, and I think they kind of quit. They're like, we already lost.
They did, yeah. What did they give up, 20 to Cleveland on that last second field goal or whatever it was? They won 21-20, I think it was, something like that.
So, yeah, I think it's more likely we see 2 touchdowns with McCaffrey than Jordan Love have 3 touchdowns.
Right. I agree with you. I'll tell you, I got to go with McCaffrey 2 touchdowns. I will be putting that bet in Saturday afternoon. But I will say, if Jordan Love leads the Packers past this 49ers team, holy shit. I mean,
yeah. We're talking Joe Burrow-like run. I mean that.
I agree. That
and I don't want to overshadow what the Lions, Dan Campbell, I'm all about him. He has balls of steel. He drinks, 12 cups of coffee. I've said it a number of times on this. Shit's lightning. But that will overshadow their story. I'm sorry. That down and out, you kick the shit out of the Cowboys, and then you beat the 49ers. Holy shit.
In a row. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'll go 2 touchdowns on that, Trevor.
I guess I can't post links, but somebody asked in the comments, where do the Steelers draft? They're at 20th right now.
20th, okay.
20th.
Not bad spot. I'd like to be a little earlier, but 20th is bad.
No, I've seen some good talents falling to that spot. Potentially a guy by the name of Kool-Aid McKinstry as well. Like I mentioned, Chop Robinson earlier. You got some offensive linemen that could fall that far as well. We're in a good spot, and like I said, this is a really loaded draft.
Yes.
So
I will say one thing: if they're going to draft the quarterback, they're going to move up. But if they don't, they're not touching it.
So we'll
correct. I'm in agreement.
That's the position that they'll move up for, because I think this is, very, very deep quarterback draft. We're going to see probably 12 to 15 quarterbacks drafted, I think. And I seriously think there's 8 to 10 that have a very solid NFL future. Not saying starting. When I say NFL future, I say starter or long-term backup spot starter. Like, I think there's that many players that we'll remember for a long time in this draft at quarterback. And if all the people would have came out of college that were eligible, we'd even have more, because Quinn Ewers is staying.
Yeah.
There's a couple others that are too. But yeah, no, I think the position that the Steelers are in, they'll stay put. I doubt they're going to draft a quarterback, but if they do, they better move up, because Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and May are the 3 best. And I don't know who else is worth going to get. I don't think Penix is. I don't think he is because he's not durable when he gets hit and he struggles under pressure. That's just my thought on him.
He struggled in that national title game. He had a lot of pressure on him. He didn't get sacked a lot, but he also got run out of the pocket, got hit.
Right. Yeah. And I know we're getting early, very early in this here, but I would you say the 12th pick, you say, Nate, Trevor, that if they didn't move up by then, they're not going to do it?
If they didn't move up by 10, I think.
Okay, let's go with 10. Okay.
I think right now it's 10 because but I truly think we could have 3 quarterbacks, top 3 picks. I think that
that could happen.
And Daniels are that good. I think they're all that good.
Right.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, and I know I'm kind of jumping the gun again, but it'll probably the most intriguing thing that's going to go down on draft day. What are the Bears going to do with that first pick?
Yep.
Right.
They'll do it before the draft. I think if they do anything.
Yes.
Draft day. I think it'll be again.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm in agreement there. But yeah, that's all I had for what's more likely.
I love it, Trevor. Last week's segment was awesome. That really got my mind going. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I like to make you guys think a little bit. Absolutely.
Sometimes there's cobwebs in there and bad thoughts. So
Yeah.
they all come out on PlayStation. So
no, I know. Yeah, we leave the unfiltered stuff for that. We gotta put a bit of a filter on when we're on the internet here. So
to answer Cody's question, I don't think his position meant in terms of we're pick 20. I think he meant like what position on the field is wrong.
What position on the field? Offensive lineman.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think it's offensive lineman or defensive tackle or cornerback. And the 4 positions are middle linebacker, offensive lineman, defensive tackle, or corner. So those are the 4 to me. They pick any of those, I'm good with it. Or if they leap and go get a quarterback very early in the draft, that would be the 5th one that I'd be okay with. But if I had to pick one that I think that they're going to get for certain, I think that they're finally going to wise up and try to go get another middle linebacker. I think that they're so thin there.
They are. Yeah.
And they don't draft corners highly very much. And they don't draft offensive linemen highly super much either. So I think they're finally going to try to go get a middle linebacker that's a run stopper, can cover a little bit. That's fine to pick. I think they're going to try it.
I should know this, Nate. Is Chop more of an interior guy or an edge rusher? Chop Robinson.
Edge.
Edge. That's what I thought.
Coming to us because we have Highsmith and Watt locked up. So
correct, yeah. So I was thinking when I said Steelers might draft Chop, I was thinking he was interior, but then I thought about it a little bit. Wait, he's edge. But we're good there. My apologies there.
I think you're onto something though with Kool-Aid McKinstry because he's a defensive guy, defensive secondary guy, and I think that could be possibly a pick that we have for sure. I wouldn't be shocked if they picked him, but if I'm going to pick, I'm going to pick someone secondary middle linebacker, I think. And they're not going to go. I'm going to be kind of pissed that they don't go offensive line, but they just don't want to spend money there for some reason.
Yeah.
32nd highest paid lineman in the league or line in the league. Weird.
Right. I've pitched to Trevor. There's one guy that's definitely, I'm going to say they need to draft a goddamn left tackle. Get Dan Moore the hell out of there. Saw it last night.
Well, it's yeah.
Fucking,
or center.
Or center.
Get Mason Coles. Get Mason Coles, low snapping, non-blocking ass out of there too.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm out of shape now. But I think in the shape I'm in right now, I could play better than Levi Wallace. Goddamn awful. He is terrible. He is awful.
You couldn't.
He twitches to the left just a little bit. He's going to the other side, and the guy's wide open. Get him the fuck out of there. Apologize for all the viewers out there, but goddamn it, when I get passionate, I got to let it out. All right, pick'ems here, boys. great show so far. Very good conversation. But all right, we got the Houston Texans against the Baltimore Ravens. Trevor already alluded to the spread. It's at 9.5.
Yep.
Ravens are favorited in this game. I would not go so far with that, though, people. And over and under is 44.5. I hate the Ratbirds. I want C.J. Stroud to keep it going, and I want to see Houston smile about something because their basketball team is, I'm going to go Texans.
Texans? Oh boy,
yes, sir.
I'm rooting for the Texans, but I'm going to go Baltimore Ravens. I think that they'll find a way to get to C.J. Stroud, make it difficult for him, and I think that the Ravens are going to control the tempo of the game, run the ball, expose what's not a fantastic defense, and I think that they'll win. And I'm going to say I think they'll cover that spread too. I think the lack of experience will catch up to Houston, and the preparation for ball, they'll be ready to go. So,
both teams have a losing record against the over. Baltimore 8-9, Houston 7-11, and then both teams winning record against the spread. Baltimore 11-6, Houston 10-8. This is a tight one because you got the hot hand of C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins, and like you said, Nate, they're doing it without Tank Dell too. It's amazing what they're doing. Dalton Schultz coming alive again. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. We'll see how rest affects this Ravens team too. I think this is a game where the tone set in the first 5-10 minutes of the game going to be huge. And if Baltimore comes out flat, we could see an upset here.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen though. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Ravens have too much playoff experience, both on the coaching side and the player personnel side. And I think Stroud finally makes a couple of mistakes, even in spite of an absolutely fantastic season from him. Yeah. He has a bright NFL future ahead. I kind of figured that might be the case. I didn't know he would show up this quick, and I'm very, very happy for what he's done. I will say this about him too. He has the best attitude of any player, any rookie that I've seen coming in this league. Gives all the glory to God and all the rest. Very humble human. And then he balls out on Sundays and eats you alive. So I will give him that, but I'll take Baltimore here. Houston to cover that spread, though. I think they lose by a touchdown.
Right.
One more thing. Mark Andrews is back for Baltimore. I think
yes.
That's one impact in this game. If him and Likely are involved, look out, because Likely played fantastic without him. And there's
I was going to say there wasn't too much of a drop off in tight end production with Andrews being out, which is a shocker because Andrews, I would say, still top 3 tight end in the game today.
Absolutely.
And that could be Likely in a couple years. that could be Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, boys. Two things. One thing. Do not put the bets in right now. Whenever you're watching this, wait till Saturday afternoon, about 3:00 for that 4:00 game we're talking about here with, again, the Texans and Ravens. But and second thing, I didn't say anything on the spread. I'm going with Trevor the Texans will cover that spread. Green Bay Packers and the 49ers, same spread here. We got 9.5. 49ers are favorited, and over and under is 50.5. Like I said, I want the goddamn Packers to win, but I do see the 49ers winning this game. That defense, God, you got so many weapons on both sides of the ball. 49ers all day. And I'd go spread at 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah. No, I'm not comfortable with 9. I don't like getting close to 10. I don't like that.
It's dicey, especially in playoffs too.
Yes.
But then we saw tight spreads last week, and I think only one of the games was decided by a score. So
right.
Yeah. I've been on the 49 train for 3 months. I'm not hopping off right now. I'm going San Fran at home. They're rested. They got They're well coached, and I think they'll be very creative in getting to Jordan Love, and I think they'll be very ready to spread the ball around on offense and keep that Packers defense guessing. Remember, they did give up 34 points to the Cowboys. I know that it was garbage touchdowns and this and that and the other, but this team does give up points. They do. And I think that really they're going to give up a good bit against the 49ers in this one. I think it's going to be over. I think it's going to be over 50, and I think San Fran will get it done.
I'm kind of seeing here right now. I just looked at ESPN Bet. They have this spread at 8.5. FanDuel has it 9.5. I wouldn't be surprised if the money goes toward the Packers with how hot they are and how much people are going to hop on that train as well. As it stands right now, I'm going off the FanDuel spread, 9.5. Similar situation to the Texans and Ravens. You had a young team with a young stud at quarterback, just absolutely lighting it up right now at the perfect time, running into the number one seed, who we've been on, both number one seeds here for obviously San Francisco for pretty much the whole season, and Ravens for most of the latter half, if not, 2/3, 3/4 of the season. So I'm with you, Nate. I'm not hopping off the Niners train now. I do think McCaffrey scores twice. I think that does happen. Packers not particularly great against the run. They do have a good front seven. They're good at getting to the quarterback, but not as spry against the run. San Francisco controls the game. I think I'm going to go with the same answer as Texans Ravens. I think the favorite wins by 7, Niners.
Right. No, I agree with you. And also you got to put in at least a touchdown for Christian McCaffrey. If you're not comfortable with
it's a lock. It's easy money. You throw that leg in a parlay, it's going to hit.
Right.
In all likelihood, and it's going to hit.
Yeah. And then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Detroit Lions, spread 6.5. Lions are favorited. Over and under is 48.5. God damn it. I want Dan Campbell to win. He deserves it. The city deserves it. Detroit, over the years, the city has been crumbling. And I think the one thing that's bringing life back to it is Detroit Lions here. So I got them, and they are going to cover the spread at 6.5. That might change by Saturday, or Sunday, but yeah, I'm going to take them on the spread as well.
I'm going to quote Detroit's favorite son here. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Bucks.
Wow.
Oh,
1-2 there.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was up there with McAfee singing the Georgia song and then picking Bama. Oh boy, that was fun.
We're clipping that fucker. We're clipping.
That was good. That was good. I mean, that was no who's that coming down the track. It wasn't that, but that was good.
Right.
That was real good, Nader. Go Bucks, huh? Oh my God! Again, Lions might be involved in the game of the week here. Two teams that, again, getting hot at the right time. Baker has been playing out of his mind the entire season. Over 4,000 passing yards. 28-10 touchdown interception ratio, and he's taken yet another underdog team, you could say, to the playoffs. A lot of people were picking the Bucs to go last in this division. I guess none of us thought the Panthers would go 2-15 and not lead for a single second of game time. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Then, of course, the Lions coming off their first playoff win. Since 1991. Good God almighty. Cell phones weren't even a big thing yet. That's amazing. That is amazing. That game did take a lot out of them. I will admit that. They came out fast. They came out hot, scored 21 on their first 3 drives, and then only scored 3 for the rest of the game. I'm with Nate. I think the momentum stops here. The Lions won that playoff game that has eluded them forever, and that I picked them to win. But I think Detroit is happy. But Detroit, the Lions lose to the Bucs in a very, very tight game.
Yep. You're not taking that spread, Trevor.
I see 6.5. Well, yeah, I'm picking them to win. So.
Yeah,
Taking
Bucks
the Bucks
covers
to win.
that, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm going to throw a curveball to the Bills fans. I have to. Just a little.
Oh, please.
We got the Kansas City Chiefs here and the Buffalo Bills. They're at the beautiful stadium at Highmark Stadium there in Orchard Park. Spread's 2.5. Bills are favored by not much. Okay, Bills Mafia by not much. Over and under is 45.5. I'm going to take a little line out of Nate, what he did there. I'm going to go, hey. I'm taking the Chiefs. Chiefs. Andy Reid. That's for all you
Hey, DB. How about those? Jeez.
Andy Reid's going to stop at Chick-fil-A on the way to the stadium. He's going to have those boys humming and gumming. And Taylor's going to come there with their little posse, and their Swifties are going to take over the crowd, baby. I bet you're going to see a ton of women with their hair dyed blonde, and they're just going to lose their fucking minds.
Oh, my God.
They're not going to be wearing their Bills jerseys. They're going to be wearing Taylor Swift tour shirt. So, but yeah, I'm going Chiefs.
I'm gonna say the Randy Bobandy and Andy cheeseburger picnic is not quite ready to happen yet this offseason. I'm gonna go Chiefs as well. I just think that the Chiefs own the Bills, and we got to see those Swifties in the NFL playoffs a little bit more, right? I mean, it just has to happen. We have to have it. So that's why I'm picking the Chiefs. Sorry, Bills. I hope I'm wrong because I'm rooting for you, but I just have this weird feeling that they're just going to do it to you again.
Right.
This will be the first time that Mahomes goes on the road in a playoff game, I believe. So I'm hopeful that might play a factor, but I think that off week was the get right week for them, not playing, and they'll be ready. I just have a.
I didn't realize she was watching. Oh boy!
Yes, Taylor. Yes.
Hey Taylor, I hope I'm wrong too.
Please comment more often, please.
No, I'm rooting for the Bills. I am, but I go on this program and I say what I think is right. I don't care about bias or unbiased opinion. I think I've had very few biased takes on this show through almost 2 years. So I truly think the Chiefs will win. But I'm with you, Taylor. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Bills win. I hope this Swift that we're talking about is the semis here for a while because I'm tired of talking about Taylor. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
You're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me for this, Nate. I'm gonna paraphrase Taylor one more time here, maybe two if I figure out something on an improv. But Patrick Mahomes has never, ever, ever been in a road playoff game.
Right. Oh, Haley Steinfeld will be at the game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes first time on the road, and yes. Chefs own the Bills, but the Chefs own the Bills in shootouts. This isn't going to be a shootout. This is going to be a slugfest. It's going to be haymakers thrown left and right. Going to be a lot of running, a lot of bumbling, and a lot of stumbling. Taylor's going home disappointed. Bills all the way.
Really? Wow.
Bills all the way. Not by much.
Okay.
Not by much. I think they cover 2.5, but not by much.
Right.
I'm rooting for the Bills. I'm picking the Bills. It is their time to beat the Chefs.
Well, no.
Great googly moogly, Andy Reid. You're going home. You're going home. You're going home, and you're going to sit down on your lazy boy, and you're going to DoorDash some Burger King or McDonald's or whatever your burger of choice is, and you're going to be watching AFC Championship from home.
No need. Randy and Andy will be making cheeseburgers if they lose, so they'll just get one. She'll just get one of those.
Jesus.
There you go.
No delivery fee included.
I do not know. I'm guessing Chris Collinsworth's going to be doing that game.
I hope.
And I will.
Oh my God!
I will tell you this. He has brought up every time the Bills have played in prime time. The 13 seconds.
No, wait. That's a CBS game. Could be Nance and Romo.
Oh, jeez.
It will be Nance and Romo for sure.
Oh, God. Damn it. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know which one's worse.
Sorry.
I don't know which one's worse. But
Done. Is Collinsworth done for the year? I don't know if NBC's done or not, if they have the Super Bowl or not.
CBS has the Super Bowl, I believe.
God. All right. Collinsworth might be DUN done for the year. That's fine by me.
right.
Not complaining. Not complaining at all.
Nope. Goodbye.
But I got to say this. Is there anything else, folks? I just got a really big announcement. I'm very excited.
One more thing.
Yeah, I got one thing too, but go ahead, Nate.
Huge week in football, not just on the field, but off the field. Nick Saban retired from coaching.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
You're stealing my thunder. Yeah, go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
Football is better with Nick Saban in it, even if you don't like Alabama. It was a sad day to see a legend leave. It was like when Mike Krzyzewski retired and Roy Williams retired, Jim Boeheim, it was that effect. It really was. Those guys are in a class of their own. There's not very many that join them to do it that successfully for that long and at that level. So credit to him for what he's done in his football coaching career. That's all I really want to say. He's a legend, and I'm excited for him to continue to be around the game for the next few years to help college football. And good luck to the new regime in Alabama, because talk about having impossible shoes to fill. Yeah. Really, really tough.
Right.
To kind of put it in perspective where he stands all time there, Nader, 15th all time in wins. And remember, that includes a bit of a hiatus to the NFL. He took a couple years in the NFL, then came back. Still 15th all time in wins. 7 national titles, has won 80% of his games. And after his initial season at Alabama, where he went 7-6, they went 16 straight seasons winning double-digit games. Absolutely insane, dude. Went undefeated twice, once in 2020, once in 2009, both national titles here there. Nick Saban himself has spent more weeks as the AP number 1 as the head coach of Alabama than any other program in college football history. Next closest is Ohio State. They have 105 weeks at the AP number 1 spot. Alabama, obviously far and away, has the most, but Saban himself has 109 weeks at the AP number 1 spot.
Wow.
Then behind that, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and USC. Redonkulous how good that guy was and how hard we had to root against him in a lot of scenarios. It's tough watching legends leave the sidelines, leaving the playing field, leaving the court, whatever it is. And there's no doubt about it in my mind. If it's not Bear Bryant, Nick Saban is the GOAT of college football head coaches. He's up there. I still think Bear Bryant takes the cake, but Saban in his time, definitely the GOAT of the modern era. You could make a bunch of arguments as to who it is all time, but Nick Saban has got to be in that conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, just got to throw a little Penn State in here. He is still 112 short of Joe Pa, but we'll just besides the point. I'm not. He has changed a lot of young men's life, given them an opportunity, a platform. Came out of very rough areas. He went to those rough areas, took time with their families. A lot of kids that didn't have parents, or was missing a parent, or whatever it might be. He went in there and changed their.
If I may say this, Drew.
Yeah.
I believe Nick Saban only started coaching in college in his 40s, Nate?
Yeah, I think so.
Early 40s?
I think he, as a head coach, yes, I believe.
As a head coach in college. That's what I'm talking, because I know he was a defensive assistant under Belichick with those Browns teams in the 90s.
Yeah. I believe he started at Toledo. That might have been his first one. And then I can't remember I think he might have been the Browns after. And then Michigan and then I believe LSU, and then the Miami Dolphins, and then Alabama. And there might be a couple I'm missing, but I think his first head coaching position was at Toledo, and then he went to Browns, and then Michigan State.
How the fuck do you know that?
Yeah.
90,
And
you're right, Nate. You're right.
Yeah.
1990.
And if I think I'm right in saying this too, he's never had a record under 500 as a collegiate head coach. He had a couple 500 seasons at Michigan State. Other than that, has had a winning record, 500 or above, every single time. It's ridiculous how good that guy was, and ridiculous how well he could recruit, develop guys.
Make them into gentlemen.
Make them into gentlemen. You never heard any sort of scandals or anything like that coming out of that program.
No.
Never. And if there was a little tidbit of something, it was disproven within like a week, and nobody was talking about it ever again. I don't recall anything off the top of my head that lingered for maybe more than a week about that program.
Yeah, two things about that. I think Nick Saban is someone that changed the way that we looked at guys that got in trouble. You know, as long as there's some things and acts that people do that are unspeakable, and he certainly has those on his list. But like things like traffic violations, or like, you know, getting these small petty crimes where other programs would have kicked people off the team, he would call them in and be like, this is when we need to love people more and love this young man more, and be like, use this and pivot your life. He's like, what's worse? Kicking them off the team so they keep it doing that and go out into the real world where they never have a shot, or loving on the person, building them back up, putting the discipline into their practice, their workouts, and making sure that they never do this ever again. And I've heard him say that, and he's been consistent with it. And sure, maybe some of the kids that he brought back didn't deserve a second chance, but some of those guys have gone on to be Hall of Famers and All Pros and Pro Bowlers and starters, and
countless first round picks, countless NFL draft picks.
Yeah.
And an astonishing stat here as well, at the end of this last year was the first complete cycle of like a class from freshman to senior that did not win a national championship under Nick Saban.
Yeah, and I know that aided him. You know,
trust me, the stats only get stupider from there. Go ahead, Nate. Sorry.
The standard is so ridiculously high.
Right.
But yeah, that's one thing about him. And then the other thing is, it's unfortunate the way that higher education has gone. It's about institutions with football teams and not institutions with curriculum that support a football team. The football team at Alabama did wonders for that school. They built so many new buildings, had so much more endowment, so much more, you know, I mean, everything from a new law building to the cleanest landscaping of possibly any school you ever visit. I mean, everything was impacted because of Nick Saban and his ability to win, recruit, get boosters on board, and produce talent that would also then reinvest some of their dollars at their alma mater as well. So it's a testament to the kind of man that he is, the competitor that he is, and the consistency that he possesses. I mean, to put it in perspective, this guy's been eating the same breakfast for like 30 freaking years. Two
oatmeal cream pies, baby.
I mean, like,
love those things.
I know that it sounds insane, but like for that man to be that regimented and that consistent it's so impressive. And it's a shame that we will not be seeing him as often anymore, even if I certainly rooted against his team a lot. But
right.
What a career for him as well.
Yeah, no. Watch the little snippet documentary of him today. He lived by the old saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover." And yeah, I hated him, but then you watch that, and I'm like, okay, he's not a piece of shit. He's actually a decent guy. That's why I had to say that. He changed a lot of.
You hated him because he won, and he won a lot.
I hate Roll Tide. I hate all that shit.
Yeah.
But one thing, one lady that needs her flowers tonight, Caitlin Clark just broke Brittany Griner's record. Now she's fourth on the all-time scoring list. I got a text about that. I have to say that. special lady. Some people have their opinions on her. I don't give a shit. She's a baller. Congratulations to her. I just had to throw that out there. But anything else, boys?
Nope. Congrats to Caitlin. One of the best college athletes, no matter what sport I've ever seen. And even a stupid fact about Caitlin Clark is she's got another year of eligibility yet. See what she does.
Oh, yeah. She's got more 40-point games in her tenure than Iowa does this century, I think.
Yep.
Something stupid like that.
That's correct.
But no, I appreciate you boys. Appreciate the analysis. I hope everybody out there enjoyed the content. If you haven't yet, subscribe, hit the like, comment, do all that wonderful shit YouTube has us do for these wonderful shows we have. Appreciate everybody coming out on the last episode. We got a real bump up there. I was talking to Trevor about it. I'll tell you after, Nate. But we appreciate all you guys. If you're looking to find out, sports information's, come on here, spread it with your friends and family, and enjoy the boys. It was a pleasure as always. Another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys here. All gas, no breaks. Stay safe out there. We'll be back next Tuesday. And have a good day, have a good night, and God bless. Appreciate you, fellas.
A home soon to be 1-5 against the Bills.